Hi everyone! Today's video is my very last speed paint from my Inktober and drawlloween series. This was from day 4 and the theme was vampire. So I'm starting this by, I had first already taken the line art that I finished in October and I decided to redo it totally. So I used my light box to transfer the lines onto this new paper, and since I already did that, I'm now changing any small thing I don't like. Like I noticed the arms were a bit too long and I didn't really like the skirt shape and her leg shape and so forth. So I'm just showing you me doing the rainy sketching so you can see kind of the sketching portion. And then I will start to do the inking. And I decided to leave the inking in for this one simply because it's the last of the Inktobers and I didn't really get to show much of the inking before, so it's going to make it a much longer video, but hopefully you like longer videos. So if you do like longer videos, make sure you give me a thumbs up or leave me a comment so I know that for the future. And here I'm comparing the 3 versions just to make sure that I've incorporated anything that I might have missed out in previous versions and that it just looks the best it can. And now I'm starting the inking. So yeah, this is number 3, the version, and that's simply because I did 2 versions back in October. The first one was on a different type of paper, and I originally intended this for just to be a black and white piece, but I couldn't get her face right no matter what I did back then, so I kept erasing and it ended up eating into the paper. So that's why I transferred it the first time, and when I transferred it, it was fine, except that I kept messing up when I was inking. Like I was kind of new to inking back then, and I was using a different ink that was like much easier to smear, so I smeared it in like many places, so I decided I'd go ahead and do it again. This piece was also done on 9x12 watercolor paper, and because of the sheer size of it, it was definitely a difficult piece to do. Like it just took a really long time, and I had a few problems that I didn't have in other drawings because I had limited the size for the other ones. I started to limit the size another drawing, I think like around this time I decided I had to do something to limit myself or I'd never finish these things. So after this I started taking a piece of watercolor paper and cutting it down the middle, and that would be the standard size for each drawing. So I could go crazy and do whatever background I wanted, but I would limit myself in size. I didn't do that for this one though, unfortunately. So I envision that she is a kind of like a vampire princess who's leaving her castle, walking along the castle wall at sundown to go out for the night, and the bats are coming towards her for the night as well, because like, you know, bats, vampires, they go together. I thought it's cool. I don't know, hopefully you like that. I really like the concept for this one, and I thought the line art was really nice. I didn't struggle quite a bit with the watercolor portion. Actually, just the coloring I struggled with, simply because I hadn't fully planned out the color. Usually when I'm doing like line work and sketching, I'll have kind of like an image in my head of what I want. Sometimes you second guess that, and that's where problems come up. But for this one, I honestly wasn't sure what I wanted exactly. I thought for the girl I'd probably do levels of black just to give her like a gothic look. But other than that, I had no idea. And there was only one spot that I messed up with the inking. I was doing so well with the inking, but somehow I dropped 2, actually I think it was 3 drops of ink at the bottom right corner. And I tried to get rid of it, but I just smeared it. Oh well. Luckily it was something that I can easily cover up later. So my problems with the color started here, which was I don't know why. Maybe it's because the paper is like much larger area to cover than what I'm used to. Maybe the paintbrush is too small. I'm not sure. Or maybe the blue paint I picked isn't the best for sky. But no matter what I did, the color just kept drying really dull, which is very strange for my watercolors. I'm using artist grade watercolor and they're usually quite vibrant. And I don't know, it kept giving me a problem. It kept drying dull, or it would dry with streaks I don't remember having in there. So this was part of the icky feeling I got during this drawing that ended up taking me quite some time. I ended up getting a bit of an art block because I just was super unhappy with this. I think it took 4 to 5 layers to get the sky to a point where I was okay with it. And the problems just continued because I had a similar issue with the backgrounds, which I start on after this. Here, I'm starting on the background. I had a similar issue with the background where I know part of the problem is I did not plan at all for the background. Like, I had no idea what I was going to fill this area, and it's a much larger area than I usually have to fill, so yeah, it didn't go very well. And I got so upset about it that I ended up taking 3 days away from everything, and I just couldn't do any work that I was happy with. I really thought for quite some time that I would just restart this drawing again, going on to version 4, but luckily on day 3 I suddenly had an idea, and I decided that, you know, if I already think it's ruined, there's nothing wrong with trying whatever I can first. So I decided to go in with a kitchen sponge because I didn't have an art sponge. I cut up a kitchen sponge and I used it to just like slap on some black, and my idea was to put a bit of black and then a bit of white to see if I could kind of cover up the background, and it does end up fixing it, so I was able to continue with this drawing, so that's great. And you'll see that in a few minutes. I'm still kind of messing with it now. So yeah, this, while I wait for that to happen, this whole series was quite fun. I would definitely say it was also trying and difficult, but overall I had a lot of fun with the Inktober and drawlloweens, and I definitely learned so much. I am much more comfortable with watercolor now. Here is where I'm going over with the black. And I'm much more comfortable with the dip pen. In fact, I haven't even touched my multi-liners because of this challenge, so quite happy with how like things have progressed, and I would definitely say I'm more satisfied with my work overall because I get to use a lot of mediums with each drawing, and I don't know, that's just really satisfying. So yeah, I'm filling it in with black, and I was actually super happy with the way that looked, so I was like, alright, I can keep going with this. So I start doing her skin, and I decided to give her a blue skin instead of like a human skin. I thought it looked really, really pretty, especially against all the darkness. And then for her hair, I'm using a kind of a blueberry purple that I pre-mixed a while ago, and I don't know why I never used it, but I wanted to kind of use it up, and it was there, so that was the hair color I used. And at one point, I know that here a bit of the hair color like mixed into her cheek, and it was like, oh my god, that looks so nice. So I ended up using the purple to cover, like do a bit of shading for the rest of her skin, and I really, really like the look of that. And now I'm just putting blue for the corset, the leg, the boots, and the back of the skirt, just to make sure that the black is like somewhat different tones, and I'm laying black on top to darken it. But this part, maybe I could have done this part better. I think I learned a few things during this drawing. Even though the drawing came out pretty well and I'm happy with it, there was definitely a few things I could have done to improve it, and I did learn a few lessons about what I probably could have done during the watercolor to make everything else a bit easier. So at this point, I'm getting towards the end of the watercolor, and I started to realize I have a bit of a problem, which is, yeah, I'm starting the color pencil. The problem is now I have quite a lot of work ahead of me with color pencil just to bring out all of the blacks, because they're starting to look like one big mass of black, and I want everything to be a bit more separated. That was quite a hassle, to be honest, and I know that I could have done it better with the watercolor, so now I know for next time. I'm just putting a Prussian blue, an indigo blue, and a black for the back of her skirt to give it some dimension, but also to bring it out. And I'm putting a light blue on the edge so that you can see where the skirt stops and the background starts. And I'm doing the same thing with the top of her skirt. I'm using white and black, and I use gray to do like a mid-tone as well, just to give her skirt a bit of color and interest. So yeah, I'm pretty much going to do that for the rest of the drawing, like just add shadow and highlights everywhere, try to bring everything out, because the one problem was when I did fill the background with all black, it just, yeah, everything became a big mass of black, so that wasn't easy. And this part I had to edit out quite a lot because I do go over the areas like so many times that it just became really boring. So, like I said, I'm just going through with the color pencil to add the shading and highlight and bring things out a bit. While I'm finishing that, I'll just have to say, if you guys want to see the scan of this drawing or any drawing, do check out my DeviantArt. The link is in the description below. And if you want to see photos, work in progress, or any more of my artwork, you can check out my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. The links are also below. And yeah, for this one, let's see what else is there to say. Sorry about all the background noise in this recording. It's just taken me so many tries to get this recording down that I kind of am like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave the background noises in. It's one of those weird, very noisy Saturday days here. So I really loved how her hair came out. Like, I think that was one of my favorite parts when I did the hair. It's just so much fun, and I was just so excited that it came out so nice and glossy. It was just so pretty. Overall, I really enjoy how this picture came out, and I'm just so proud of myself that I didn't give up and I kept trying. So if you guys are stuck on a picture or a project or something like that, give yourself a few days, but you should try to go back to it because you might be able to pull it out and you'll be so proud of yourself when you do. It's just super rewarding. So for the rest of the drawing, what else is there to talk about? In the background, and later on you'll see I very quickly did a white gouache for the background to make stars. Normally I use a paintbrush to do that, but I've heard many people suggest that you should use a toothbrush instead. And I really wanted to try it, so I was at Daiso the other day and I picked up a child's toothbrush, which is there on the side, and I used that instead, and I must say, like, now I understand why people suggest it. It's just like so much easier. The direction of the flicking and all this stuff, it's just like, it doesn't go all over the place. It's much more directioned, if that makes sense, and the bits are much smaller. And here I'm also using the white gouache to make mist. It's one of the ideas I had to fix the background and give it a bit of visual interest. And guys, I had to tell you, I had no idea what the hell I was doing here. Sorry. I really had no idea. I just kept going, kept like layering, and I even sprayed some water on it. And I asked my husband, does this look terrible? And he's like, no. So I just let it dry, and I was like, all right, it's not terrible. And here I'm just doing some shadows to make it look more like a moon. I used a reference photo, but I wasn't using it exactly, you know, like I didn't have to make the lines look perfect, just to give it a bit of a suggestion. And then I had an idea to kind of like, I already saw some shadows in the mist naturally there, so I decided to accentuate them with color pencil, and I was so happy I did that because it really looked like mist after that. And that's it, all done. If you look at the underskirt when I pan down, I actually put glitter there, but I don't think it's very visible. Even in person, you can't really see it. And I also cut out the highlights. I put a highlight around her and the bat to bring it out a bit. So yeah. all finished, finally. This one took so long to get through, but I'm so proud of the ending. So I hope you guys like it too, and I will see you next time. Bye! Hi everyone! Today's video is another in my Inktober and drawlloween series. This one was day 31 and the theme was dragon. Honestly, for drawlloween, I really don't understand why they included dragon for the theme. I can only assume that the person ran out of ideas, but I don't know. For me, I personally don't see dragon as something that's very Halloween-like. It's very fantasy or Eastern culture. It doesn't really have any